Every morning at exactly 4 o'clock, a father would wake his young son. No loud clock, no way to sleep longer, just a rough hand on a small shoulder in the dark before the sun. The boy hated it. He was tired. He was 10 years old, and each morning he just wanted to stay in bed. But that 4 o'clock wake-up, that habit his father made him do, would one day become the start of one of the greatest companies the world has ever seen. Imagine the hard rule you dislike most right now. What if that very thing saves your life later? Stay with me, because this story will change how you view hard work forever. In a small farm village hidden by mountains in East Asia, lived a family so poor that their children never knew what a full meal felt like. The father was a quiet, strict man. He owned no great land, his farms were small, the dirt was stubborn, and the food grown was rarely enough to feed his family through winter. But one thing this man had plenty of was discipline. Every single morning, rain, snow, heat, or sickness, he woke at 4 o'clock. Not 4:15, not 4:30, 4 o'clock. And he expected his oldest son, just 10 years old, to do the same. Before the sun colored the sky, father and son would walk together through the dark village to their fields. Their steps were the only sound. The boy carried tools almost too heavy for his small body. His father carried even more. They worked until the sun came up. Then they worked some more. When other children in the village were still sleeping, this boy was already deep in mud, pulling weeds, carrying water, bending his small back to the earth. His father once told him, "If you want your brothers and sisters to have land, to own homes, to get married, you must work harder than anyone. You are the oldest. Everything starts with you." The boy did not fully understand those words, but he listened, because that is what his father taught. Not by talking, but by doing. Every single morning at 4 o'clock. His mother was a different kind of teacher. She never spoke loudly. She never gave long talks. She simply worked without end, quietly, without a single complaint. When she was not in the fields with her husband, she raised silkworms at home. In spring, she and the boy would climb high into the mountains to gather mulberry leaves to feed the worms. The paths were steep and tiring, but she never stopped walking. After the silkworm season, she spent the summer making thread and weaving cloth. In autumn, she went back to the fields. In winter, she fixed clothes and got ready for the next planting. There was no break, no day off, no season without work. The boy watched his parents. He watched his father get up before the world. He watched his mother work through every season without a single word of complaint. Without knowing it, something was being planted deep inside him. Not knowledge, not money, not important friends, but something much more valuable. The habit of strong, steady, silent, hard work. He did not know it yet, but this hidden gift would be worth more than any treasure. But even as he worked, a question quietly burned inside him. Every evening, after hours in the fields, he looked at his hands, rough, cracked, covered in dirt. He looked at his father's hands, the same, only worse. And his mother's hands, thin, never resting. 3 generations of hard work, and still they had almost nothing. One night, lying on the floor, unable to sleep, the boy whispered to himself. Quote 1. He did not have the answer, but the question would not leave him alone. The first time he ran away, he was 14. He had seen a newspaper ad for building work in a far-off city, an airport, a steel factory, jobs that paid good money. His heart beat fast. He found a friend, packed almost nothing, and walked for days until they found work laying train tracks. The work was brutal, but for the first time, the boy earned money that was not from the soil. He felt the exciting taste of a different life. Then his father appeared. Quote 2. His father said, his voice tight with controlled anger. Quote _3 __. The boy went home, but the thought of that distant city would not fade. Months later, he tried again, this time going for the capital city. A stranger promised him a hotel job. The boy gave the man his money, and the man disappeared. With no money and lost, the boy was found by a family member and brought home in shame. The third time, the boy was truly desperate. He sold one of his father's cows, the most precious family item. He used that money to go to an accounting school in the capital city. For 2 months, he learned about numbers, about money books and business ways. His mind felt alive. Then his father came to the school. This time the old farmer did not yell. He did not make threats. He just stood in the classroom door. This was a man who woke up at 4 in the morning every single day of his life. A man who never once complained. A man who gave everything he had to his family. And he cried. The boy went home with his father. Not because he quit, but because the tears of a man who never cries are impossible to ignore. Back in the village, winter came with a harsh cold that matched his sadness. The harvest had failed again. Meals became almost nothing, just bean husks and roots that they boiled. The house was freezing. His 7 younger brothers and sisters crowded together for warmth. The boy sat alone, staring at nothing. 3 tries, 3 failures. Every door had shut in his face. Then he remembered something his grandfather once told him. A simple story about a little green frog that wanted to reach a high branch on a willow tree. The branch seemed too far away. The frog jumped and fell, jumped and fell. 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. But the frog never gave up, and on its very last jump, it reached the branch. The boy closed his eyes and whispered, quote 4. When the snow began to melt, the boy left home for the 4th and final time. He had nothing but the clothes he wore, and one invisible thing he did not yet understand. The strong habit his parents had put in him morning after morning. At 4 in the morning, for more than 10 years. He arrived in the capital city with nothing. He found work as a laborer, carrying bricks, mixing cement at a school building site. The work hurt his body, but it never hurt his spirit. Because here is what nobody else knew about this boy. While other workers complained about waking up early, he was already awake. While others moved slowly, he moved fast. Why? Because he had been trained since he was 10 years old. 4 in the morning, every day, rain or shine. His father had made a machine inside him, a machine of strong will. And now, without the fields, that machine needed a new goal. Soon, a chance appeared. A small rice shop in a busy area needed a delivery boy. The job paid no wages, only 3 meals a day and a small amount of rice each month. Most young men would have said no, but the boy took it right away. He arrived at the shop before the sun came up, a habit so deep in his bones that he could not break it even if he tried. He swept the floors, he put things in order, he arranged every bag with great care. He learned the names of customers, their families, what they liked. He carried heavy loads that made his shoulders burn, but he never slowed down. The old shop owner watched him closely, day after day, week after week. One quiet evening, after the last customer had left, the old man sat next to the boy and held up a single grain of rice between his fingers. The old man asked, The boy nodded. He placed the tiny grain gently on the table. The old man looked at the boy with serious eyes. That night, lying on the floor of the shop's back room, the boy thought about the old man's words. And for the first time, something made sense. His father waking him at 4 in the morning. That was the planting. His mother working through every season without a complaint. That was the watering. The years of hard work on the farm, those were not wasted years. That was the soil being made ready. Everything his parents had given him, not money, not schooling, not chances, but the habit of showing up, of working harder than anyone, of never quitting. That was the only treasure he needed. And now, in this tiny rice shop on a busy street in a city far from home, that treasure was finally starting to grow. There was one more thing the boy carried from his past, the 2 months of accounting school which his father's tears had cut short. He began to use those basic skills for the shop's money matters. He put the money book in order. He kept track of costs. He figured out profits. The old owner had never seen his own business explained so clearly on paper. Within 6 months, the old man gave him full power over the money. The owner said. The boy had no special talent. He was not lucky. He was ready because of 4 in the morning wake-ups, because of a mother who never stopped her work, and because of 2 stolen months of learning that turned out to be just enough. 4 years passed at the rice shop. 4 years of waking up before the sun, just like his father had taught him. 4 years of working through every season, just like his mother had shown him. 4 years of never complaining, never cutting corners, never doing less than his very best. The shop totally changed. People came from farther and farther away because they trusted the young man who ran it. The food was always fresh. The money books were always correct. The help was always personal. Then, one afternoon, the old owner called the young man into his back office. The owner's son had been living like he didn't care, spending money, ignoring the business, showing no desire to continue the family's legacy. The old man knew that if he left the shop to his son, everything he had built would fall apart in 1 year. He looked at the young man standing in front of him, the boy who had arrived with nothing, who had never missed a single early morning, who had made a simple rice shop into the most trusted business on the street. "I am stopping work," the old man said softly. "I am going back to my hometown, and I am giving this shop to you." The young man, now 22 years old, stood still. 4 times he had run from home. 3 times he had been pulled back. He had been tricked, felt great sadness, and been hungry. He had watched his father cry. He had questioned everything. And now he owned a business on one of the busiest streets in the capital city. He did not celebrate. He bowed low and said, "Everything I am, I learned from my parents and from you. I will not waste this." That rice shop was not the end of his story. It was the start. The strict habit he had learned, the 4 in the morning routine, the constant effort, the refusal to quit, became the power for everything that happened next. Over many years, that young man grew into building, then making things, then engineering, then making cars. From one rice shop, he built one of the biggest industrial companies his country had ever known, a company that would build roads, launch ships, and make cars that traveled the world. But if you asked him where it all began, the answer was always the same. It began at 4 in the morning in a dark village, with a father's hand on a boy's shoulder saying, "Wake up, it's time to work. My friend, this story holds a truth that most people do not see. We spend our lives looking for the one big chance, the lucky break, the secret way, the quick path. But this boy's life shows something different. The greatest gift his parents ever gave him was not money. It was not land. It was not even learning. It was 4 in the morning. It was the habit of waking before the world, the practice of working when no one is watching, the strength to keep going when every harvest is bad and every try fails. His mother never read a business book. His father never went to a class on how to be successful, but they taught their son the only lesson that truly matters. Show up, work hard, and never, ever stop. That lesson went with him from the rice fields to the rice shop, and from the rice shop to the building site, from the building site to a company that changed a nation. Most of us look at successful people and think they must have had something we don't: money, important friends, talent, luck. But this boy had none of those things. What he had was an unseen gift inherited. The strong work ethic of a father who never slept past 4 in the morning, and a mother who never let a single season pass without meaning. That inherited gift cannot be bought. It cannot be passed down through a bank account, but it can be built. Starting today, starting tomorrow morning, here are 3 truths this story gives us. First, discipline is a gift you give yourself. If your parents didn't wake you at 4 in the morning, you can set your own alarm. The exact hour does not matter as much as the habit. What matters is that you choose to show up before the world asks you to. Second, no honest work is ever wasted. Every sack of rice he carried built his strength. Every row he cleaned built his patience. Every number he figured out built his business mind. The job you think is not important right now may be the ground where your future is growing. Third, the people who build great things are not super smart. They are the ones who kept working when everyone else stopped. Success is not a sudden good idea. It takes many years of doing the same thing again and again, even when no one is watching, until suddenly everyone sees what you have built. If this story made you think of someone special, your mother, your father, or a grandparent who worked hard their whole life so you could have a better one, please share this video with someone who needs to hear it. This is because sometimes we do not see the greatest gifts we were given until we are older and look back. And if you want more stories like this, stories about normal people whose quiet hard work made amazing things, join this channel for more. Remember, big successes are not made in just one day. They are made very early in the morning, one day at a time, by people who simply will not give up. Your parents might have put seeds inside you that have not grown yet. Give them water. Keep them safe. Be patient. The time to gather your rewards is coming.